Hey everybody, having the right tools is essential when you're doing glass blowing. You need to have big tweezers like this. You need to have little tweezers, and sometimes with a little curl on them, makes it easier to pick up certain things. You need to have pointy little tweezers for little things. You need to have some snub nose tweezers. You need to have various mashers. This is a small masher. This is a big masher. This is a masher that's got graphite little fins in it, which we're going to use today for making wings of birds. We're going to make a bird, and we're starting off with some, this is Chinese white jade glass. It's a little bit translucent. It is a little bit finicky. It does bubble up pretty easily, so you got to be careful. You got to use a soft flame. And you can see I'm using a National Torch. That's the only thing I use. I don't have one of those fancy burners with lots of oxygen, and therefore I'm not able to do a lot of bigger pieces. I don't get the same effects with the types of glass where if you have a lot of oxygen in your flame, you're going to get those beautiful colors. This is one of the things that I give up for speed and cost. National Torch, like $100. That's all you need. Some propane, some oxygen, and a annealing oven. Doesn't have to be a big fancy one. Could be one of those little chili peppers if you're just making pendants. I have a chili pepper. I have a, what is this one? Paragon. I have a small Paragon. And let me say something about Paragons. If you're gonna spend one, if you're gonna spend the money for one, make sure you get one with a digital controller. Don't go with the analog ones. I did. I deeply regret it. Anyway, you get yourself a nice little blob on the end of your white jade. You can use my special mashers and just making a little penny with the ribs in it. We're going to use our smaller tweezers and pull this out. The trick about making wings for birds is they got to be relatively the same size. So you may find yourself making 3 or 4 of them to get 2 that are matching. So typically when I'm making little wings like this, I'm going to make like 3 or 4 of them, and after I get about 2 or 3 of them, after I get 3 or 4 of them made, I am going to throw them in the oven for a minute, because depending on how much you squeeze down with your mashers, you put so much stress on the glass because it's cooling on the outside and it's still hot on the inside. I've had these things sitting here and they just like break right in half, just in a matter of minutes. So you don't want to do that, because sometimes they land on your lap, and that is no good. The last thing you want is a piece of glass landing on your lap. The other thing about this this jade glass is very buttery. It's not like a lot of the borosilicate glasses. It is it's very fluid or viscous. Probably because it's translucent. Technically, it's a translucent white. Those of you who've been doing this glass blowing for a while, you know if it's clear or translucent, it can flow for a while, and when it's opaque, it stops moving pretty quickly. So, especially some of these color translucent glasses, and this white one in particular. stays very fluid for quite a while. Alright, so that is the other thing I just realized is when you pull these things off, I got 3 of them and they're all different sizes. When you fold in your glass at the end, with this particular glass, you can see those folds when you make your next pedal. Probably better off just pulling off the end and starting with a nice clean piece. So I'm doing that. The other thing that I'm sure you know, those of you that are doing this on a regular basis, you need to have a metal bucket right, if you're right-handed, you need to have a metal bucket right by your right leg on the floor because you're constantly throwing stuff in the bucket. Get yourself a good metal bucket. The other thing you should know about doing this type of thing is your tools are going to get hot. The metal ones, the graphite ones, you occasionally got to let them cool off. Otherwise, you're going to stick to the glass and you're going to get some impurities in the glass. You don't want that. I usually have 2 or 3 big pair of tweezers, 2 or 3 small pair of tweezers, and of course, if I'm using graphite mashers, then I gotta like make maybe like I've made 3 of these wings so far. I may make 1 more. I can feel how hot these things are. I gotta let this cool off before I make any more. So I got 4 wings so far. I'm going to make 1 more because I only like 2 of them. And that's the other thing, you know, if you want 2 really good wings and you end up making 4 or 5, well, you're better off making ones you like. You can throw the rest away, or you can make something else out of them. Alright, so I got a couple of wings here that I'm happy with, and I'm going to throw these in the oven, and then I'm going to make another video on making the bird and putting the wings on the bird. So I'll be back. Don't go away.